When the US completed its withdrawal from Afghanistan in August 2021, it ended a 20-year military engagement, America's longest war. But that exit came with a heavy cost. According to the US Department of Defense, nearly $7 billion worth of military equipment was left behind. This includes armored vehicles, aircraft, weapons, and advanced surveillance systems.
I rebuilt our entire military in the first term. We left a lot of it, although a lot of it, but very small relatively, in Afghanistan. The Taliban has it. They have their parade every year where they take our military vehicles and run them up some little street, and like it's their form of a military parade, and it makes me angry when I see that.
So what exactly was left behind? Reports suggest that among the abandoned equipment were Humvees, mine-resistant vehicles, Black Hawk helicopters, and light attack aircraft. There were also rifles, machine guns, ammunition, and high-tech equipment like night vision goggles, biometric devices, and encrypted communication systems. The Biden administration had maintained that much of this equipment was either destroyed or disabled before the withdrawal. However, visual evidence and reports from Afghanistan paint a different picture. Taliban fighters have been seen operating American-made vehicles and showcasing US weapons during military parades, further fueling the controversy.
Which they have tanks and trucks and guns and goggles. They have night goggles, better than we have, brand new right out of the box. It's unbelievable.
The real question is, why wasn't this equipment brought back? The Pentagon cited logistical challenges and the urgency of the evacuation in the face of the Taliban's rapid advance. Disabling and abandoning the hardware was seen as the fastest and safest option during the chaotic withdrawal from Kabul. But critics, including Trump, argue this was a strategic failure, leaving behind resources that could empower extremist groups.
If we're going to give them money, it's okay. But I want them to give us back our military equipment that they have. They're selling it.
And that brings us to Trump's latest demand. Speaking at the Conservative Political Action Conference in Maryland, Trump claimed the US still provides Afghanistan with billions of dollars in financial aid each year, and insisted that continued assistance should be tied to the return of the military hardware now in Taliban possession. But does the US still provide aid to Afghanistan? While the Taliban government remains under international sanctions, the US has continued to support humanitarian efforts in the country. This aid, funneled through the United Nations and NGOs, is intended for the Afghan people, not the Taliban regime. And it is important, given the history between the two nations. The US invaded Afghanistan in 2001, ousting the Taliban, but the victory was short-lived. Despite $90 billion in support, Afghan forces struggled. When the US withdrew in 2021, the government crumbled, and the Taliban swept back to power with stunning speed. Years of war left Afghan civilians in crisis. Over 100,000 lives were lost, and by 2022, 95% of households faced hunger. Sanctions and a collapsing economy pushed millions to the brink of famine. The US exit marked the end of a fragile democracy. The Taliban's return erased hard-won freedoms, with women's rights crushed and brutal punishments revived. Afghanistan remains isolated, battered, and broken. Coming back to today, concerns are mounting over the fate of US-supplied equipment left behind in Afghanistan. Analysts warn that much of this hardware may have already been sold on the black market, potentially falling into the hands of militant groups across the Middle East and beyond. Others warn that the Taliban's possession of advanced US equipment strengthens their military capabilities and cements their control over Afghanistan. So will the Taliban ever return this equipment? The chances appear slim. The group has consistently denied receiving direct US financial aid and maintains that the military hardware left behind belongs to Afghanistan. Moreover, the equipment has become a symbol of their victory and their defiance against Western powers. But beyond symbolism, the strategic and financial implications of this situation remain significant. With US-made weapons and vehicles in their arsenal, the Taliban's military capabilities have been greatly enhanced. As Trump pushes for the return of this equipment, the global community watches closely. The outcome could shape US policy in South Asia, impact humanitarian aid efforts, and redefine the Taliban's relationship with the world. For now, the question remains, will the demand for accountability lead to action, or will the billions in lost hardware remain a lingering reminder of America's chaotic exit from Afghanistan? Bureau Report, NewsX.